The lines men had drawn between nations would disappear magically one night each year, as pilgrims from nearby villages gathered at Treda Sharif in the tiny hamlet of Moji in the Leepa valley. The shrine's front door, you see, opened into Pakistan, but the back door pointed across the line of control into India. Military commanders, so local memory has it, tolerated the custom until 1988, when the endless darkness of war fell over Kashmir and gunfire began to light up the Leepa valley. Today, there are no pilgrims at all at the nearby shrine on Tutmari Gully, which is cared for only by Indian soldiers. A signboard on the Indian military hospital just across the line of control also bears evidence of the changing course of history, journalist Hilal Ahmad reported in 2013. Inaugurated by Captain Parvez Musharraf, the plaque on the hospital reads. This week, Indian and Pakistani soldiers have been exchanging fire across Leepa, a 9-kilometer long high-altitude valley that runs along the Kazinag spring. Located at the junction of mountain routes that run over the Tutmari Gully to the majestic meadows of the Bangas Valley and on to Chaukibal, Uri and Srinagar, Leepa has long been a key staging post for jihadist infiltration attempts. Leepa is also, however, one of several points along the line of control where territorial gains made in the 1971 war allowed India to inflict significant military damage on Pakistani military outposts. As Indian military planners contemplate how to impose cause on Pakistan after the Pahalgam massacre, seizing territory in Leepa and elsewhere along what Pakistan called the Neelam Valley is one option that is being very seriously considered. Like in 2016, Indian troops would mount incursions just hundreds of meters across the line of control, but then hold on to the territory seized. Even if the territorial gains from such operations can sometimes be measured in meters or even centimeters, they inflict material, economic and reputational costs on the Pakistan army, some Indian military experts argue. Limited in scale and intensity, warfare on the line of control also has few of the risks of escalation posed by conventional combat in the plains. There's absolutely no way to predict if this is the strategic option Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government will eventually pick. But as the pilgrims at Treda know, there's little permanence to anything on the line of control. Tactical skirmishes, including incursions to seize territory, became a regular feature of the military dynamic on the line of control after 1990, as thousands of jihadists streamed back into Kashmir from training camps run by the Inter-Services Intelligence. The Pakistan Army often provided covering fire to these groups to protect them from waiting Indian ambushes. Indian troops, in turn, responded by firing back at Pakistani outposts or sometimes even conducting raids to retaliate against particularly aggressive support for infiltrators. Even though both armies maintained a tradition of silence on these skirmishes, their existence and their savagery sometimes made their way onto newspaper pages after the Kargil war ended. Late in the summer of 2002, as India mobilized its troops along the length of its western borders in the wake of the attack on Parliament House, Pakistani troops captured the Lunda post on top of a 3,260-meter high peak overlooking the town of Kale. The intrusion was detected when 3 soldiers from a battalion of the 6th Light Infantry, who were responsible for securing the area, were killed in an ambush. 4 Indian Air Force Mirage 2000 combat jets from the 7th Squadron, backed up by fire from howitzers on the ground, bombarded the positions the Pakistan Army had occupied, eventually evicting the intruders and killing 28 of them. This was the first use of air power since the Kargil War and the last before the 2019 strike on Balakot. Later that year, Pakistani troops again attempted to seize unheld areas around the Kangar post on the line of control in Rajouri. The Pakistani assault team took advantages of gaps in patrolling which had emerged after troops of the 10 Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry replaced a unit of the Gorkha Rifles. The imposition of a ceasefire in 2003, agreed on during the negotiations between Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Pakistan's military ruler General Pervez Musharraf, calmed the tensions. The peace was not permanent though. Late in 2012, 9 years after the ceasefire went into force, Reshma B, an elderly resident of a hamlet in Uri, crossed the line of control to be with her sons, both fugitives who had fled to Pakistan to evade police cases for cross-border trafficking. Aware that the elderly lady's escape revealed weaknesses in its 3-layer border fence, the 19th Division began building new observation posts in the area. The Indian construction work was met with fire from across the LOC, leading to an attack on the Pakistan Army's post at Savanpatra. A Pakistani soldier was killed in this attack. The Pakistan Army responded by killing and allegedly beheading 2 Indian soldiers, Lance Nayak Sudhakar Singh and Lance Nayak Hemraj, in the Krishna Ghati sector. For both armies, this kind of quiet use of force is a means of drawing their red lines in blood, even when no clear tactical issue is being contested. Following the Kargil war in January 2000, 7 Pakistani soldiers were alleged to have been captured in a raid on a post in the Nadala enclave across the Neelam River. The 7 soldiers wounded in gunfire were alleged to have been tied up and dragged across a ravine running across the line of control. The bodies were returned according to an official complaint by Pakistan, bearing signs of brutal torture. The raid has been claimed but never proved to have marked vengeance for the torture and murder of Captain Saurabh Kalia and 5 soldiers, that is, Sepoys Bhavarlal Bagaria, Arjun Ram, Bhika Ram, Mula Ram and Naresh Singh of the 4th Jat Regiment, the first Indian soldiers killed in the Kargil war. Post-mortem investigation had revealed that the Indian soldiers' bodies had been burnt with cigarette ends and their genitals mutilated. Later, in 2008, Indian troops were alleged by Pakistan to have beheaded a soldier and carried his head across the line of control on 19 June 2008 in the Bhattal sector in Poonch. That killing came 2 weeks after an attack on the Kranti border observation post near Salhotri village in Poonch, which claimed the lives of 28 Gorkha Regiment soldier Javeshwar Chhame. Then, on the 30th of August 2011, Pakistan complained that 3 soldiers, including a junior commissioned officer, were beheaded in an Indian raid on a post in the Sharda sector across the Neelam Valley in Kale. The attack followed the killing and beheading of 2 Indian soldiers near Karna. Following the massacre of 29 Hindus in the Prankot village by the Lashkar-e-Taiba, 22 civilians were executed at Bandala in the Chamb sector. The Pakistani army claimed to have recovered an Indian-made watch from the scene of the carnage, along with a handwritten note which read, "How does your own blood feel?" Leepa's relative remoteness and strategic irrelevance, like that of many other places on the line of control, makes it an ideal location for the waging of this kind of secret, brutal warfare. The region from Tangdhar to Leepa made up just a footnote in the War of 1971, with both sides seeking only to protect or occupy some tactically important high ground. The 104 Infantry Brigade, India's official war history records, essentially seized the heights around Leepa and Tangdhar to secure Kashmir against an attack through the Tutmari Gully. Among the key positions captured was Naukot, which overlooks Leepa. Though some gains were made, the effort to secure the Indian line by capturing posts at Shisha Ledi, Ziarat and Jamua, the operations had to be called off after the ceasefire of 1971 was declared. Even though skirmishes have regularly erupted on the same battlefield over the years, there's a real possibility that the Indian Army might now or in coming months try to complete the unfinished business of 1971. There is no telling, of course, how significant or durable the gains from such an operation might be. Though the Pakistan Army might indeed suffer some humiliation if the line of control is pushed westwards, India's problems with infiltration would remain, just move a little bit. And while a war of attrition might inflict greater costs on Pakistan than India, it could well mean an escalation of retaliatory terrorism within Kashmir. The maintenance of the ceasefire on the line of control has been a cornerstone of Indian policy since 2003, as it is critical to containing infiltration by jihadists. Nevertheless, frustration in India has mounted to the point that rolling the dice now might seem an increasingly attractive option for the strategic establishment. I'm Praveen Swami and I'm a contributing editor at ThePrint. Thank you for watching this episode of Security Code.